Hi, furniture retailers. Do you feel like you're investing across more media channels than ever before? Social media, video, direct mail. The options are endless, but more options doesn't necessarily mean better results. And the difference between wasted media spend and ROI comes down to how well your media is mapped to the customer and their journey. My name is Jennifer Johns. I am with Elevate Marketing Research, and I am here today to talk with you about metrics for smarter marketing in 2026. So let's get right into that. So there's a lot of potential customers out there. It's definitely very tough as a marketer with so many different groups. I'm sure it feels like playing whack-a-mole pretty often, but it's really, really critical to know who your key personas are. And here at Elevate, we just conducted a national study amongst furniture buyers, and we uncovered who those key retail personas were. This is a look at them. Do you know your personal key personas? And if not, the answer to that is no. You might want to consider persona mapping to understand how to best connect with the different consumers that are interacting with your brand. Who are those individuals that are over indexing with you? And maybe those individuals that you're under indexing with that could be of great opportunity for you. Once you know those personas, media mapping is just the process of aligning your media with the channels to that buyer's journey. So in our study, this is what the customer's journey looked like. Here were the top media platforms that they were engaging with in advance of buying furniture. When they wanted to learn about furniture retailers, they told us who the number one, that's what you're seeing in light blue, and then top three different media platforms they're interacting with to seek your messaging and reason why. So you're looking at TV, advertising online, direct mailers to your home, social, and email campaigns as being critical to connect with American furniture buyers today. But effective media marketing and mapping starts with the marketing funnel. At the top of the funnel, we have awareness tactics and platforms where we're looking to build strong trust. So channels like video, social, out of home. Then in the middle, we have paid social SEO, influencer content. This is where we're really looking to build trust and support the consideration that they're making of our brand. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you have things like paid search, retargeting, email campaigns, reputation management. These are all of the places in which we are capturing demand and driving conversion. Beware though, we see a lot of marketers focused primarily on the bottom of the funnel. And if you're only focused on the bottom of the funnel where you're trying to make that sale, you're missing out on the rest of the customer's journey. A smart marketing plan is going to incorporate all three stages of this funnel. Remember, you're not just looking to connect with the people who are in the market today. You've also got to be thinking about how we're building out those customers for the future. So your media mix budget allocation at each level of this is dependent on a few different things. And in order to understand how we allocate those budgets, the first thing we need to know before we make that investment is looking at some key brand metrics. One, our unaided awareness. This tells us if shoppers are thinking about your brand without any kind of prompting. Secondly, aided awareness. It shows us overall brand recognition and how you're stacking up against other potential retailers that they're considering. Ad recall is an important thing to understand because it's going to tell you whether your media is breaking through. And finally, brand satisfaction scores are going to tell us if the experience is delivering on the promise. So once your brand health is understood, budget allocation becomes strategic. So brands with low awareness need to invest heavily at the top of the funnel. But as your awareness grows, your spend can shift more towards that mid and bottom funnel part of the marketing channel where we're looking to drive trust, visits, and conversion. So here are some different tactics and budget breakouts that we here at Elevate recommend based off of your level of awareness in the market. So if you're still introducing yourself to the market, you've got low awareness, invest in top of funnel, social video influencers, local awareness campaigns. But if people know you and they're not choosing you, then you need to focus on the middle of the funnel. This is educational content. It's the why you, it's the reviews. And if your brand is strong and traffic is coming in, you can scale back on that top of funnel and you can focus more on the bottom of the funnel with promos and urgency and sales and different types of conversion tools. So you say to yourself, okay, awareness. Well, how am I supposed to measure that, Jen? Well, it's simple. Just go into your local market with a third-party researcher like Elevate and talk to furniture intenders. Find out, get a measure of who's coming to mind when you just ask them. When you think about buying furniture, who's top of mind? That's what we call unaided awareness. Then we can also learn about how you're stacking up against your key competitors with aided awareness, where we put yourself and a number of who you deem to be your top competitors in front of buyers, and they tell us what their perception is of your brand. Once you know your personas, remember you got to map those personas. Once you know your level of awareness, the next key is to track these things. This is what's going to really maximize ROI is this continuous measurement. So here at Elevate, we measure shifts in awareness and ad recall and brand perception. You're able to really understand if you're moving the needle on the things that matter most. So here's an example of what that might look like year over year amongst the different personas that we've identified. We can also dive deeper to understand the positioning points that you're working to drive awareness around. So are you moving the needle on the things that matter most to consumers? In the end, your media mapping really comes down to these 5 key things. 1, start with your brand health before you spend. It's going to prevent any kind of wasted spend and chasing conversions maybe too early. Secondly, you want to map the channels to the funnel, not to trends. Let's look for efficiency based off of where the people that we're trying to capture are spending time with media, but also how much do they know about us? Finally, you're going to allocate that budget based off of your brand's maturity. Not all brands should be, spending in the same exact way. So let's budget and maximize ROI at each stage in order to drive growth. 4, measure what moves sales. Let's track awareness along with traffic and leads and in-store visits to really understand how are we growing in the minds of people in the market. And then finally, optimize continuously. The best plans evolve, so constantly be looking and investigating your performance and then making changes at all levels of that funnel. Don't forget that the best retailers out there, they're not winning by spending more. They're just spending smarter by actually mapping media back to the journey and optimizing for real ROI. I hope that this has been of help. If you're interested in learning more about your brand's position in the market or would like to explore media habits by persona groups in our study, reach out to me. You can get me via email or phone, or you can scan this QR code to send me your information and I'll follow up with you. Thanks so much for taking a listen in.